and welcome to episode 7 of Yins Are Good. I am your host, Tressa Glover. Thank you so much for joining us yet again. This podcast celebrates the good stuff that's going on out there. There is good stuff going on out there. We're celebrating the good people who are making that happen. We are sharing stories of gratitude, sharing stories of people who've made our lives better, of moments that have made our lives better. And I do want to thank you all for listening. We continue to gain listeners, and I'm so excited about that. And so thank you, and keep spreading the word. And we also now have a Facebook page. So last episode, I had let you know that we are on Instagram, and now we're on Facebook. So feel free to like and follow us there. And so what do I have on tap for you today? Well, last week I posted on social media. So yes, our Instagram and our Facebook page. I posted this. Fill in the blank. Today, I'm most grateful for blank. And we received several responses, and so I'll be sharing those with you today. We also have in our Yinzer Spotlight a fantastic interview with folks from Rivers of Steel and the Steel Valley Arts Council, who created the Homestead Streetside Gallery. And that is a series of temporary murals and paintings created by local artists in, you guessed it, Homestead. So we talk about the gallery and the neighborhood and local artists. It's just a great conversation. So I'm excited to have you all hear that. And of course, kind of maybe goes without saying at this point, we do have our 7th installment of Name That Neighborhood, your favorite Pittsburgh quiz show. And as a reminder, we're always looking for stories. So what's that phone number? 1-833-399-GOOD, or send us an email, yinsaregood@gmail.com. Tell us about the good people in your life. Perhaps it's a stranger who somehow made your day better, changed your life in some way, a family member, a friend. Let us know. You also can let us know via social media on our Facebook page. Tell us all about it, and we'll share it here on the podcast. So I do want to say this episode is being released on November 2nd, which is the day before Election Day. There is, and has been, as we all know, an extreme amount of tension, of divisiveness. So if you're listening to this on the 2nd, perhaps this can serve as an escape for a little while. It can lift you up for a little while, maybe remind us all of the good that is out there. And if you're listening to it after Election Day, hopefully it can do the same thing. So let's get to the good stuff. So Pittsburgh, we're filling in the blank here. Today, I'm most grateful for another beautiful day of life, says Anita. These incredible sunny, then gray, and then sunny days again. Love the leaves and love the sky. Feels good. That's from Marianne. Beautiful autumn skies and nature, from Anna Marie. A gift of another beautiful day. That's from Corazon. Friends, says Marcus. Watching my daughter grow, says Sean. Quality time with my little man and family. That's from Greg. And he also included an adorable picture of his toddler son. Today I am most grateful for my children and grandchildren and friends, from Marie. Helpful friends, from Alexandra. Today I'm most grateful for my wife, Janet. That's from Bill. Today I'm most grateful for peace of mind, says Regina Yasmin. Everyone being safe, from Peggy. A warm home, from Teresa. I am grateful for all of you who shared your thoughts with us. And especially if you go to our Facebook page, Yins Are Good, you'll see all of these comments there. And it really was very moving for us to look at these as they came in and the willingness of you all to share all of this, and especially to post it up there on our page. And each of these struck a chord in me in a different way. And I really appreciate that, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you all. Yins are good. And now, a Yinzer Spotlight. Art by everyone, for everyone. That is the core of the Homestead Streetside Gallery. As John Engel says in his blog on riversofsteel.com, quote, "This goes beyond the artists we featured or the subjects they chose. The community of Homestead makes this show what it is. More than any show in a traditional gallery could ever be, the Streetside Gallery is alive and rooted. As you walk from piece to piece in this show, you are also walking by your neighbors and through their lives. The friendly waves, the sounds of traffic, the chatter at bus stops, in shops, and on stoops, that's all part of this show too." So here is my interview with John Engel, Shane Pilster, and Douglas Lopreto, where, as I mentioned, we discuss the Homestead Streetside Gallery, the neighborhood of Homestead, and the local artists and artistry. Well, let's start. Do each of you want to, tell us a little bit about who you are and the organization with which you're affiliated?
So my name is Douglas Lopreto. I was the programming, I think I still am. I think I'm the programming director for Steel Valley Arts Council. And I am also the owner of Kindness Solidarity Design in Homestead.
And do you want to take a second and tell us, you can, about each of those groups, and especially the new business? Yeah.
Well, okay. So Steel Valley Arts Council, I was elected the programming director right before the pandemic. Right before the pandemic hit, we were about to meet with the Heinz Endowment, which whoever was in charge of that. And sadly, that fell through because of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So that all got put on a halt. And luckily, I was introduced to Shane. I guess that's where the idea for all this came, because I was like, hey, I had this idea for Steel Valley Arts Council. Can we make this happen with Rivers of Steel? And then the rest is history. You can't let it win. That's all. And I think we banded together and we decided we were gonna make this grand thing happen, and we did. We just luckily connected with the right people. And
tell us about KSD, Doug.
The new venture.
If you want, KSD, which is Kindness Solidarity Design, my business partner Kyle Ryback and I, we are renting the old Whammo building, and we are turning it into. He and I are tattoo artists, so there's going to be 3 tattoo booths, and there's 2 bathrooms, a kitchen, but then also attached to that is a large gallery space and a stage, which we are hoping to host as many things as possible. We want it to be an all-inclusive place for honestly everyone. The place is just going to be built on respect and integrity, and we hope it just goes from there. We hope to have art classes, local art shows, gallery shows, poetry events, local music events, concerts, everything you could possibly think of. And when I said tattooing before, it's going to be tattooing with a purpose. Each month or 2, we're going to choose a different charity and do different charity type events to raise money for those local charities by tattooing.
Soon to open, hopefully?
Soon to open, hopefully. It's been a lot of work, but luckily I have an army of amazing people behind me who are helping me like endlessly every day. And hopefully we'll be open within a month or 2. So,
oh, congratulations. Keep us posted.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, keep us posted on that.
Thank you.
All right, who's next?
All right. My name is John. I work with Shane at Rivers of Steel, which is an art slash history organization based out of Homestead. Mainly what I do there with Shane is work on public art and art festivals in Homestead, centered around our Homestead First Fridays program. We introduced this concept last year of like a monthly art festival for people in Homestead. That unfortunately kind of fell by the wayside because of COVID. And then we were blessed by the heavens to receive Doug and the Homestead Streetside Gallery idea. And that kind of became our thing this year. We sort of, just want to make public art opportunities in the Homestead area for the Homestead residents. And that's how I fit in.
Excellent. Well, Shane, I guess that leaves you.
All right. Yeah, my name is Shane Pilster. I started working with Rivers of Steel about close to 8 years ago, and then as of last year, as the graffiti arts coordinator and community outreach coordinator. I started the whole graffiti arts program at Carey Furnace, Ron Bariff, and then Chris McGinnis, who's in charge of the Rivers of Steel arts programming, really helped us take it to the next level. So now the graffiti arts program is not only doing like workshops at the furnace, but also doing classes and teaching in schools and virtually now. And when Doug and I were, as he mentioned, he came down to the furnace and painted, and we chatted quite a bit, and then we liked each other, so we stayed in contact. And kind of funny, as we were planning this whole thing, we started seeing other cities like LA and New York doing similar things, and we were looking at these newspaper articles that were coming out, and we were like, wow, we're definitely on the right track. So lots of behind the scenes stuff to actually make it happen, literally between the three of us. We had these recycled vinyl banners from billboards, and we cut them to size so the artists could paint them, and then we grommeted them, which we learned later was probably not even necessary. A lot of kind of comedy of errors, just things like learning how, it's like, hey, here's another contingency that we didn't plan for, let's just figure it out. And there was a lot of instead of sulking and being like it's too much, we just kind of overcame all that with solidarity and kindness, and it ended up being pretty amazing to have all these artists come down. There was what did we have, 14 artists painting 10 banners or 11 banners, and
that sounds right.
Wow.
And they're all 12 feet by 7 feet approximately, because we measured them out and then cut them by hand. So most of the artists used aerosol spray paint, and then several artists used acrylic mural paint, and then there was a couple of banners that were a hybrid of both. And then once we finished everything, we clear coated all of them, and through the amazing administrative work of John and Doug and several other people, but a lot of John, we got into several of the businesses that we worked with at Homestead First Fridays. They allowed us to literally drill these things right into the walls of their buildings. And so they're pretty permanent. But for the most part, it took us, what would you say, like a week and a half or so to hang all the banners?
Every day we worked, it took, not to take over for a second, but every day we worked at least half of the day or more hanging, and we'd get like 2 or 3 done.
So it was I guess my point of saying all this is it was really like a very cool community effort. It wasn't just like 1 or 2 of us, doing all of it. It was like kind of the whole group of artists. Like even some of the artists that painted them came and helped hang, and and then the other side of this whole project was to have finished pieces of art hung in different storefront windows.
Artists in the windows, I think, are definitely from Pittsburgh. All of the artists generally are from, Allegheny County and the few counties around it. And I think that's really important, at least to me, is this kind of the idea that the show and that everything we do in Homestead is by the people, for the people in this area. That, like, these are our neighbors, these are our friends, who are showing us the things that they do because they're proud of it, and because it means something to the people in the area, or it improves their lives somehow.
I've been living in Homestead for a little over, let's say, about a year and a half now. And when I first moved here, I originally lived in Perryopolis. And I didn't feel like I belonged there. No offense to Perryopolis, but the second I, the second I came to Homestead, I walked into one of my favorite businesses, Live Fresh, which is one of the businesses hosting a bunch of artwork from some local artists, which is just great. But they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" They were super welcoming, and then every other business that went in Homestead did the same. Everybody was so nice and so kind. And as I was walking up and down the streets, I see all these people rushing through, because Homestead's kind of like an in-between spot, to get up to 376 and get out to the South Hill, whatever. And people were always rushing. So we said to ourselves, well, if people can't gather in a big building, what if we bring the art to them? So that when they're driving, when they're stuck in traffic, when they're going to their job that they're might be scared to go to because of what's going on, give them something to look at, give them something to lift up their spirits.
Yeah.
Slogan Doug came up for us way at the beginning was slow down and smell the flowers. I don't think people appreciate, I don't think our lives are built to let us appreciate the kind of mundane beauty that's around us.
Yeah.
And for me, this show, that sentiment of slow down, smell the flowers, in part, it's about experiencing Homestead and the people, not just the architecture and the businesses or whatever, but the people and what they're creatively capable of that has always been around you.
Yeah. It's an honor getting to work with Rivers of Steel and all the great people.
Likewise, if you're coming from Pittsburgh, say on the Grays Bridge, you just hang a right immediately off of the Grays Bridge when you come out onto 8th Avenue. If you're coming from the South Hills and you're driving down 8th Avenue, Duke's is going to be on your right. And then from that point down to the Boast building, which is the other end of 8th Avenue, on the street, you'll find paintings in storefronts, and the 11 banners hanging on buildings. They also go up some of the side roads on a 9th to places like Voodoo Brewery and Capri Pizza. We're going to be launching a raffle for 2 gift baskets from Rivers of Steel and some local businesses. So tickets to events at Carrier Furnaces, run by Rivers of Steel, some merch from Rivers of Steel, but also gift cards to businesses like Duke's Cafe, for instance, Freshman Vintage, which is a clothing store in Homestead. The way you enter into this raffle is as simple as a picture of the art, whatever you find interesting in the area, and just tagging Streetside 151. I always mess up the numbers. Shane, do the numbers for me.
15120.
Yes, Streetside 15120.
I would, though, real quick, though, I would just like to personally reach out a huge thank you to Live Fresh, the Juice Bar, Freshman Vintage, Pip and Lola's, and Capri's Pizza for hosting some artwork, as well as Tracy's Place. And then the community garden, right, has artwork.
Yep.
Plus
Forge Wine Bar.
Bar.
Okay.
Eberly Studios, Mon Valley Initiative, Duke's and 8th and Hayes, the Lifestone Church in Kidsburg, and then Lloyd Cunningham, the president of council in Homestead, also a huge help.
Huge.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Campbell
Yeah.
Foundation. we should mention them for sure.
Yeah,
Thank you
kind
for
of a big deal.
thank you for the grant. But also just the people in Homestead, the people, not the artists, the community.
Is there anything else you want to add before we?
I really love that there's been like I've been a graffiti artist for a long time, and like I've been doing stuff in communities with various organizations throughout the whatever 16 years I've lived in Pittsburgh, and it makes me happy to see that like the city itself and the public are finally kind of having some love towards people that use spray paint as an art form. And it's like, and we're also being able to like bring some of these artists that haven't had as much publicity, and you know, people, and some people that are well known for wielding a can, but also like to be able to get these pieces out into the public, and you know, so not only that other people can see them, but they also get, like, the artists get some recognition for the amazing stuff that they're able to do.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I was just gonna say, yeah, thanks to all the people that I said before. Huge thank you to Rivers of Steel, Shane and John. You guys are amazing. But
You're amazing.
Thank you, brother. One thing I said that I always wanted to see was a mural of Josh Gibson in Homestead, because he is a legend and he should be seen as a legend. And I can't thank Hugh Perry enough for painting that, and the fact that that is on the building where KSD is going to be. Just, yeah.
Doug, didn't you say you met Gibson's grandson or something?
Not him. One of the players of one of the fellow players of the Homestead Grays, his great grandson, thanked me for driving home from work one day and seeing that, you know, because it means a lot to people.
Just got chills when you said that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying
It's
to
beautiful.
hold myself together.
Yeah.
It was a goal of mine to achieve that.
Well,
and the fact that we did it within a year, it just blows my mind. So huge thanks to Q Perry for painting that. Huge thanks, and for making this all happen. So,
and thank you all. I would like to thank the three of you, and I know, as you're saying, they're, you know, teams of people, but especially the three of you.
Well, thank you
for what you're
thank
doing.
You.
And Chris McGinnis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
important.
The bottom man.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
And Chris
possible without
McGinnis.
him, for sure.
Yeah, it is things like this. You can't do them on your own. You need to work together. You need a community. You know, you can't move mountains by yourself. So.
The entire history of Pittsburgh art is the history of people doing these fantastic creative things that didn't get recognized in their time. Often because they were women, they were black people, they were just broke, whatever it was. Yeah. But like, I think to tie it back into this show, one of the have done things that normally would get passed over or taken for granted get to have a spotlight. And I think that's, I don't know, it's part of a rectification I'd like to see.
Agreed. Guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Such an inspiring conversation with John, Shane, and Doug. I do want to mention that all of the participating artists' names are listed on the Rivers of Steel site. So head on over there to riversofsteel.com and to check out all the other information as well. The Homestead Streetside Gallery runs through December 1st, so you have just under a month to check it out. Hi, Don.
Tessa.
Are you ready for this?
Yes.
7th time.
It's got to be better than my last outing. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to jinx it from the gate, but
yeah,
let's just say that my poor showing last week needs some improvement.
Well, yeah, I think that's fair, and I appreciate your tenacity, your stick-to-itiveness.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
well, we can say that as well.
Yeah.
All right, so the neighborhoods from which you are choosing: Homestead,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish I had a drum roll, McKees Rocks.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? So McKees Rocks is where Don is from. I think we mentioned that in the first episode. And because this episode, um, we had several people writing in and things that we were sharing. So instead of choosing a neighborhood from all of those, I thought, let's go for Don's hometown.
Sure, so I can look even more foolish if I get one wrong.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all.
Okay.
Are you ready to name that neighborhood?
I am indeed.
Let's do it. Fact number 1. This will be 1 out of 4. A glassworks factory named Bryce Higbee and Company was opened here in 1879, thus beginning the industrial transformation of this neighborhood.
See, both neighborhoods are actually fairly industrial.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
You're welcome. Yep. You're welcome.
Homestead.
Hey! You got it. Do you even remember? Oh, that's mean. I was going to say, do you remember what that sound means? That means you're right.
Yay.
Yay. So this is, yes. So Bryce Higbee and Company was in operation from 1879 through 1907. And it was a joint venture between John B. Higbee and 2 of the Bryce brothers. So they prospered until 1907 when apparently a combination of financial problems that were actually blamed on Charles Bryce and a disastrous flood destroyed the plant. And it was John B. Higbee's son, John B. Higbee, that's just fun to say. It was his son, Orlando, who was able to acquire the equipment and molds that had survived the flood, and he incorporated a new company, and that was located in Kerwin Heights. That became J.B. Higbee Company. There you have it. Now, also, I'm going to do a little side note here. So this was 1879, but the Pittsburgh glass industry actually started in 1797. And there were 2 factories that opened at that time. And a lot of people, I don't think maybe our listeners know, but don't know that Pittsburgh was actually the leader in glass manufacturing. As a matter of fact, by 1920, 80% of all the glass made in the country was coming from Pittsburgh. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Fun factoids.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Number 2. In 1931, a bridge was built in this neighborhood that was the largest bridge in Pennsylvania at the time.
Well, the McKees Rocks Bridge is fairly large, so I'm going to go with that one. McKees Rocks.
You are correct again.
Mm-hmm.
It is fairly large, as a matter of fact. So now it is said to be the longest bridge in Allegheny County. Currently, it's 7,300 feet. So that's almost a mile and a half, and that also includes the ramps that lead to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it took 2 years to complete. So from 1929 to 1931, and it cost $7 million.
Wow.
Indeed. And it was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1988. Huh.
Well, there you go.
McKees Rocks Bridge. Well done. Dare I say you're 2 for 2.
Dare you say it. Let's see where this goes.
Number 3. This neighborhood is home to the Boast Building, which was declared a national landmark in 1999 and is now a museum and visitor center.
Homestead.
Oh my God, 3 for 3? Woohoo! It is Homestead. It's true. And so it was built in 1892. It was built as a hotel for the rapidly growing workers' ward of Homestead. And it also was the center of the Homestead lockout and strike. And now the Boast Building serves as a visitor center for the Rivers of Steel National Heritage Area. And it also offers exhibits on the region's industrial and cultural heritage. And of course, we just heard from some folks from Rivers of Steel and about that Boast Building as well.
Well, look at you. Look at you tying in all of your facets of your episode.
Look at me go. All right. Here we go. I mean, it's the fourth and final. I'll say no more other than this. This neighborhood is the fictional setting of the novel Riot by William Troutman and more than a dozen novels by the crime writer K.C. Constantine.
Well, I find it hard to believe that I would not know this if it was McKee's Rocks, but so I'm gonna take a stab and say Homestead, but if it ends up being McKee's Rocks, that's sad for me.
Oh, it's sad for you.
I've never heard of any books using McKee's Rocks as the setting.
Well, these do. So apparently, William Troutman, okay, so this novel is called Riot, and he was one of the founders of the Industrial Workers of the World, which is an international labor union. And he was actually born in New Zealand and then eventually made his way to the States. But in 1922, he published the novel, which drew on his experiences as an activist in that union during the pressed steel car strike of 1909 in McKee's Rocks.
Well, there you go.
And then the other, this crime writer, K.C. Constantine. So he is this crime mystery writer born in McKee's Rocks in 1934. And his name is actually, it's a pseudonym, K.C. Constantine. His actual name is Carl Constantine Kozak. And he's a little bit of a man of mystery himself. Not too much is known about him. He did work as a journalist and as an English teacher. And he now apparently lives a quiet life with his wife in Greensburg. Now, there was one other novel, but I didn't include it because I thought it might give it away. But it's a novel called Duffy's Rocks. Written by Edward Fenton. So that's another one set in McKee's Rocks.
There you go. And I went to Fenton Elementary School.
What? Well, now you know why.
Perhaps. I don't feel as bad, though, now knowing these books are from the 30s.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. If it were like 2015.
Or
then maybe.
Anytime during my lifetime.
That's fair. Hey, 3 for 4.
That's better than 1 for 4 last week.
It is better than 1 for 4. It's always such a pleasure to have you on.
Ditto, kiddo.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And that is going to do it for us here. Episode 7 of Yins Are Good. Please keep your stories coming. Give us a call. Send us an email. We'd love to hear them and share them. I am your host, Tressa Glover. And until next time, be safe, be kind, be good. Special thank yous go out to Chris McGinnis, Brianna Horan, Carly McCoy, Don DiGiulio, and for our fabulous artwork, Mike Rubino.